Hello, welcome back to another video. Today I am using AquaCast and I'm also going to be using some Silverleaf, some pigments, potentially some alcohol inks. But first off, I'm just starting by applying some Silverleaf to my silicone mould. This one is a trinket dish, jewellery dish. I'm also using a silicone brush just to try and press that down. However, I found that using my fingers just worked better with applying this and really pressing it into the mould. I think the bit of heat transfer that happens when you're pressing it in just helps it to stick a bit better and to make sure that you don't get any bits that float, but also to reduce the amount of air pockets that can form between the AquaCast and the mould. So I just go ahead and finish off putting that where I wanted it to be and just really pressing into the mould to make sure it is fully on there and will not budge. And I'd already mixed my AquaCast ready. Just giving it another little stir to make sure it's fully combined before I add it to the mould. So this is like another eco-friendly kind of resin, similar to resin creep, but this one has a curing time of 90 minutes roughly, and you can see it doesn't spread itself as quickly through the mould, so I really had to give that a shake just to make sure the mould was full and it was flat. And then I'm just adding the rest just to level it off with the mould before doing a little bit of cleanup, just so that I've got less work to do later on in terms of like sanding due to the overspill, and giving it a good jiggle and a shake about just to make sure all those gaps are filled within the mould. With what's left over, I'm going to transfer it into a smaller cup, and I'm planning to use some alcohol inks for this because I've found alcohol inks work really nicely with AquaCast. So I'm just scraping it into that little cup there, and then I'm going to use a red alcohol ink for this. So just added 2 drops of that to colour it, and then I'm just going to give it a stir and mix that all together. As you can see, it comes out a bit more pastel-like as you're mixing it with a white base, but I quite like the way this comes out, especially for the flowers. I think it's a really nice tone for them. So the other mould I have there is a rose mould. I use them specifically for stud earrings, so I'm going to make some of those and then do some flowers too. So with that mould I overfilled just slightly, so I used a spatula just to scrape it into another mould. That's one of the really cool things with eco-friendly resins. They're a lot easier to manipulate and move across a mould and kind of tidy up if you do have that overpour. So I have managed to fill 6 of the roses, and then I end up doing 2 of the necklaces. And as you can see, just scraping it into the mould and then giving it a good shake about just to make sure it has got into the details of these moulds, and getting as much use out of what I have made. With what is left in the cup, I am going to make some white pendants, and my plan with these is once they have dried and fully cured, I'm going to try applying acrylic paints to those, so check out a future video for the results of that and how that turned out using AquaCast and acrylic paints. Okay, so I'm just going to let these dry now, and I will be back. Okay, so it's been a couple of hours now and they're all ready to demold. I ended up doing some purple ones as well, using some of the pigments specifically for eco-resins. All of the detail from the mould has been picked up really nicely using this AquaCast. All of that has actually come away really nicely from the mould as well, so there is little to no cleanup before the mould itself, which is always a bonus. For the rose stud earrings, I plan to actually just kind of brush off the excess on there and then actually add the studs to it while they're still in the mould before I demold those. So I'm going to go straight on to our trinket dishes that I did. This one was the one with the silver leaf in, and I'm quite excited to see how this one came out. So I'm just trying to release that from the mould as gently as possible. And as you can see, I do have a few air pockets that have left holes within it, but I quite like the way that has happened. It makes it a bit more unique in itself. And I do think if I had just rubbed it with my fingers to begin with, that would have left me with a much smoother surface. And then this one, I didn't show you me making this one, but I used some purple pigment and didn't mix it completely within the AquaCast, which has left me with this beautiful marbleized design. So there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more videos like this, definitely give this a like and subscribe. And I also want to say hello to all of my new followers since my last video.